Time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Bifo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome everybody to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Today, coming to you from our respective headquarters and man caves around South Florida. Jeff Defo DeForest is still off in Atlantic City, doing God knows what. The birthday revelry continues. Have not gotten any spy reports or reports from him. He's gone dark, which is always a little bit disconcerting. But sitting in today for the traveling Defo is our friend of the show, restaurateur also, Ken the Professor Jacobsen. Welcome back to the Lunchbox. How are you today?
I am good, guys. Not great news that Defo has not been heard from. Feel like that could be the Mustang went through all his money and
the cell phones should still work. It's not like they turn off the bill because they don't turn off this phone because the bill doesn't go out until
I got to tell
month.
you,
yeah.
As much as Defo has the degenerate reputation around town and is known for all the ex-wives, that man is more dedicated to a relationship than I can possibly imagine ever being. I can't imagine being in a serious relationship with a slot player. Like those people, they're all insane, and it's not going to go well. But credit to Defo and Mustang for making it work somehow, because I view that as a virtual impossibility.
This is an interesting point, and I know this is a food show, but we do dabble in the darker arts of degeneracy here, along with sports sometimes, much to the chagrin of some of our audience. And if anybody's out there, chime in and say hello, because I know yesterday we were a little late. We were on the, holiday schedule this week, no Monday or Tuesday shows, but we're back now, and we're going to be doing the show now throughout, I think, the rest of the summer, most weekdays at noon-ish. And when it comes to slots, I'm one of those degenerates that likes to rationalize my gambling and saying, "Oh, what I do is intellectual. I'm puzzle solving. I'm trying to figure out
a game of skill."
Yeah, I'm a poker player. I'm computing odds and reading people. It's psychology. It's storytelling. It's all this stuff that makes me feel better about when the dealer spikes a 1 outer on the river and I lose my whole stack. But slot players, to me, are just mindless drones who are just sitting there in a hypnotic state, drinking and smoking, a cigarette dangling from their mouth with the smoke curling up in a nice Marlena Dietrich curly cue. And then they just are either shoveling. They don't even get, this is the thing now. It makes me crazy. Back in the day, you would hear the clang of the coins and you would have to get a big bucket and cash it in. Or then it became actual, dollars. But now it's just slips. It's like anything else. It's like going to a bank and getting an ATM slip and it spits out like, oh, you've won, $1,200. What's the joy in that if it's just like a banking slip? But anyway, I find it mindless. From the sound of it, Ken, you think also slots is just the worst boring pursuit in the world, or do you do it?
If people like it, I'm not going to criticize it because I love roulette and it's just as futile and insane. But it's not personally for me. To me, yes, I like all people want that pathetic illusion of control, which I understand the odds of the game, so I can create an advantage that it's all bullshit mostly. But again, yes, I am a control freak and go for the illusion of control that slots players are apparently willing to just completely abandon.
They just like being, just mindless robots and just sit there. And
that's a little bit more harsh of a description than hi Mustang. If you're watching the show,
I don't get. Well, and the thing is, you know what it is things that you have success with the first time that you do it, you love it 100%. For life. And slots, for whatever reason, I am just cursed. Like I can never hit a jackpot at a slot. I don't like it, but sometimes the saboteur in me can't resist. Like the other week, I was up at Coconut Creek. I got bounced out of a poker tournament. I had like $30 left in my pocket. And of course, like no gambler can leave with any money in their pocket. So I looked over at the blackjack table. I was like, I don't want to play one-handed blackjack. So I go over to a slot machine. And this is the first time I sat down in a slot in like probably over 2 years. And it was a 10-cent machine, right? And I just pump in a 20. And I know the rule of thumb is what? You always have to hit the maximum number of spins.
Ken always says max. Ken max
Yeah.
is
So
max.
it maxed out is like 180 of lines or whatever it is. I didn't even do the math. It's like I hit the 180 button. I do my spin, comes up blank, and then it's like I try to do it again. It's like, oh yeah, that was $18, you schmuck. One spin, nothing, and it was like, well, why do people do this? But I guess somebody must hit because they're people just sitting there all day. So, hey, we just started off on a side note because Defoe's in Atlantic City. Ken is here, and I don't know. I mean, you mentioned the morning show, Lubie, summer doldrums. I think the summer doldrums are definitely here post 4th of July. But for me, I don't know if I got summer doldrums today or just a hot dog hangover.
I was gonna say the hot dogs got to our brains because I'm so like out of it today, and it's not like anything's wrong. The sports world is actually pretty interesting for this time of the year. The food, we're doing a lot of great dining. I know the professor does a lot of great dining, but we ate a lot of hot dogs yesterday. Like, I think that sort of brings you down.
It was funny because like when I'm trying to do a contest and like you keep tabs of it, like then it's like you end up like just freezing and you can't put them down. This was like a steady procession of Dave Arbetter down at Arbetter's Hot Dogs in Miami yesterday with Burger Beast, our friend, and he just kept bringing out more things, and I kept eating them. And I don't know if anybody out there watched it. I didn't watch the show back, but I did just click on that moment when I kind of scarfed down a hot dog in I don't know how. I didn't see if it was like under a minute or not.
It was 45 seconds because the video I took was like 48 seconds. And
but it was pretty disgusting, and I apologize to anybody out there. Ken, have you ever partaken in any like food eating contests?
Yes.
Whether for speed.
Oh, you have? Oh, really?
Give me the details.
About 5 or 6 years ago, why can't I remember the place? My buddies PC and CJ both worked up at a raw bar here in Lighthouse Point, and
we don't have
Papa's Raw Bar. I can't believe I blanked on that. And as part of the Pompano Seafood Festival, they did a stone crab eating contest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, I thought it was going to be for volume, not speed. So I was like, well, I can eat stone crabs all day. But it turned out to be like who could eat the most in 10 minutes, which didn't really make it an eating contest. It made a who can crack stone crab claws the fastest contest, which I learned like a minute in I wasn't going to win. So
wait, these were uncracked claws? You have to crack them and peel them?
They gave you a cracker. You had to crack them and they actually gave you mustard sauce if you wanted to eat them with your bread. So like a minute in, I'm watching, and this guy who has clearly cracked stone crabs for a living at some point is just pounding away. And I think he was a firefighter. He was a huge dude, looked like Gronkowski. So between his speed cracking and his general size, I knew like a minute in I wasn't going to win. So I decided, screw it, because they gave us like 25 stone crab claws. I'm just going to enjoy my stone crab claws and finished dead last, but I think got the most enjoyment out of everything because it was one of those, sometimes you watch a football game and like in the middle of the first quarter, your team's already turned the ball over for 3 touchdowns. So you might as well just enjoy the game because you're not going to win your wager in that case. Sort of a similar situation. I realized very early on the contest portion of this was futile, but I got a ton of stone crabs, right. So I might as well just enjoy myself.
For free. And you took kind of, I think, the approach that Burger Beast, Seth Gonzalez, our friend, Burger Beast, who came out yesterday, he just sat there yesterday and was eating his hot dogs at a leisurely pace and just watching us do our thing. And
that's what I did. Yeah. I sent PC's wife Jordan over to get me a couple of beers, and had myself some beer and some stone crab, and enjoyed the Pompano Seafood Festival. Because again, it was one day. If I thought I could have been competitive, I would have gone for it. But I looked at this guy next to me, and like I'm like most people, I can crack a stone crab claw, but I'm not setting any speed records doing it.
Yeah.
So unless I wanted to eat a bunch of shells.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the point?
Right.
You
I
know,
think
Burger Beast and I did the same thing because I was supposed to try and do something like that too. But he and I watched you enough to realize we have no shot when it comes to you and eating with quickness, not eating a lot, but eating with quickness. You can put stuff down because your weirdo bite that there's no shot. So I might do hot dogs off camera. I said, fuck, screw it. And he said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to compete with this guy. So I didn't even see him eat. That's how slowly and leisurely he ate. Because you're going to do your thing and we just let you shine.
Well, I enjoyed it, and that was our first foray into the 305. And as I feared, they did put things like potato sticks and pineapples and mayonnaise on hot dogs. And I can't believe I actually created a hot dog that, look, it's my name. So I had to put mayo on my namesake Mike Mayo hot dog, which apparently is now available at Arbetter's Hot Dogs there on Bird Road. What a stretch there. That's right down by Tropical Park. And they got, Tropical Chinese is there. Frank's Pizza. Have you ever been to Frank's Pizza, either Lubie or Ken? Apparently it's like a Cuban style pizza joint. It's like kind of like the dish, like a kind of Ilios, like in a square in a pan. But I have not been there yet. And I actually ran into a guy on the way out whose family, his family owns Frank's, and he was trying to get me to go down there. And I was like, I can't do the bang bang now. I can't go right from like eating 4 hot dogs to Frank's Pizza. But these are some classic Miami institutions, and I do.
Well, here's my question: what else is on the Mayo hot dog besides mayo?
Okay, so what we did, he's got 2 kinds of hot dogs down there. He's kind of got like the steamed, not dirty dog because it's not New York, but steamed boiled blend of a pork beef dog that's like a softer, squishier dog, kind of like the ballpark Franks. But then he also has the Sabrettes, the all beef, kind of a little bit more of the flavor and spice profile in the all beef Sabrettes hot dog. That's the 8 to a pound, so 2-ounce hot dog. So I got the Sabrettes beef dog on a regular bun with the spicy brown Gulden's mustard, mayo,
Always a good start.
Mayo, onions, tomato, and real bacon that they fry up and chop up. So like crumbled real bacon. So it's kind of like a BLT without the L, but with a hot dog with mustard and onions instead.
All right. So why are we talking about the Sabrettes squishy onions? Are we talking about caramelized onions, red onion? What kind of onion?
Chopped raw onions. Yeah,
Okay.
chopped raw onions.
It was a standard hot dog onions. And,
like chopped, diced raw tomato, diced raw onion, bacon, fresh bacon, not bacon bits, and mayo.
It looked interesting.
I liked it. I liked the flavor profile. I thought it had enough between the fat and the sharpness of the spicy brown mustard. Maybe, I could throw a pickle on there too, just for the
And are we talking homemade mayonnaise? We're talking the Japanese Kewpie mayonnaise. We're talking about Hellman's. What kind of mayonnaise?
I didn't ask, but it seemed like your basic store-bought Hellman's mayonnaise. Yeah,
okay.
So that was it. It was fine. It's good. I don't know what I would, if I had more time to think about it, I don't know what I would put on a Mike Mayo hot dog. It wouldn't be pineapple. He was trying to get me to eat pineapple on a hot dog.
Oh, no.
And yeah, you made the face that I do. But apparently it's
I'm not into the whole let's make everything Hawaiian trend. That's never been appealing to me.
Apparently that's a Colombian thing. You go to these Colombian hot dog joints.
Yeah, like Los Pedro, like the Colombian where they put potato sticks, they put they don't put pineapple, but it's a pineapple sauce.
Yeah, it's a pineapple sauce. That's pineapple. I mean, they're putting pineapple-ish substance on it.
Good, I'm not gonna lie.
And then they put a quail egg on it just for the heck of it.
Well,
I don't even know why.
That's an interesting twist.
Yeah. It really is. So that was our hot dog adventure yesterday. And of course, I didn't go straight to Frank's Pizza after the show, but a few hours later, after doing some other things, I ended up at Heritage Italian Restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. I met our man Phil from the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, and he's now also coordinating the Dine Out Lauderdale. And we had a nice meal at Heritage. Have you been down there in Flagler Village, that trendy part of Fort Lauderdale? Either one of you? But the chef there, it's a really cool spot. It's actually one of my favorite restaurants in Fort Lauderdale. And Reno Cerbone, not Carbone, not like Carbones, but Cerbone. He grew up in a restaurant family. His dad owns Pizza Time, I think, up in Coral Springs. And Reno grew up around the business, but he also, is more of a high-end elevated chef, and it's kind of a funky little building that's attached to a kind of a row of stores. I don't know if you've been down there, Ken. There's a place called Glitch Bar that's next door to Heritage. Glitch Bar has all these like old school video machines and pinball machines, and if you go in there and you just buy a drink, they'll give you a wristband and you can play all these video games for free. That's kind of a cool place because I went there for a drink after my meal. But Heritage was okay. My deal is this: it's been open about a little over 3 years, 3.5 years. He packs them in every night. Small place. It feels like you're someplace in New York in Soho. Really nice bar area, but cozy, small dining room, maybe about room for 40. They have like a pizza area where there's like 4 seats at this pizza bar where you could watch them make the little pizzas, and open kitchen. And Reno is always there every night on the line, which I like about a restaurant. He has a very small, streamlined menu. And everything they do well. They have the stuffed peppers. Last night was a stuffed green pepper. They have razor clams that are stuffed with it has like a lemon crema sauce on top of this like chopped up kind of a razor clams oreganata, where he takes out the clam, chops it up, puts it back in. He has a arancini, a rice ball, but it's with black, like instead of using the usual, like it has a outer shell that looks black because he does it with some sort of squid ink.
Oh, wow.
And really good high-end food. Oh, he does calamari, and I'm usually sick of calamari because everybody has it and it's nothing distinct, but he does a calamari agrodolce. And it's agrodolce is like a sweet and sour sauce, and he serves it with those little, these like the teardrop peppers. I don't know if those are peppadews or something like that, but they're little like spicy little, they look like teardrops and they're bright red peppers.
Oh.
But I forget what the name of it is. It a peppadew or is it something else? But all that's delicious. My only issue with it and him is that he hasn't changed the menu at all in 3 years.
Oh, really?
Sometimes he has some specials. Last night he had this pasta, a duck ragu pasta that was delicious, that he had shredded confit, duck.
Oh my God.
With a house-made pasta that was kind of like a twisty thing. And it was, when I hear ragu, I usually think like a tomato-based sauce gravy. This was actually, it was similar to what we had at Frankie's at Casa Calabria the other night. Kind of that, it's not a cream sauce, but
Gorgonzola.
it was, no, not the gorgonzola one, the one that we had, the carbonara. Okay.
Base, like not,
but this wasn't a carbonara. It was a cured egg yolk base with some white wine, and he had some other kind of wine. I don't know if it was a Madeira wine or some other dry wine, but it was like 2 types of wine with cured egg yolk that he tossed the pasta and the duck confit along with some other herbs. It was absolutely delicious. It was great. It was a special. So like after the meal, I have a good relationship with Reno. I think, he pretends to like me. And he's a guy who goes after people on Yelp. That's one of his claims to fame, Ken. You should really, if you look up Heritage Fort Lauderdale on Yelp and people that leave bad reviews, if they're coming from a place of completely not understanding something or, outrageous, he fires back at them in a way that's entertaining and also cringy, like you can't believe an owner would
Yelp
say
hostility.
that at somebody. Yeah, Yelp hostility. And it's like what a lot of people have on the Let's Eat group, except they do it to each other, the members, not necessarily the restaurant owners. But Reno's not afraid to, take off the gloves. But at the end of the meal, it's like
I feel like every restaurant owner wants to be very hostile
I'm curious
to Yelpers, but most of us don't go that route.
He has enough of a following and a small enough restaurant that he's able to pack the house every night. And he doesn't give a crap who he alienates. But afterwards I said, Reno, I said, I love it. Your food is you're killing it. It's all great. I said, but how about some proteins? Because he doesn't have like any fish specials. He doesn't have any meat or steak dishes.
Really?
And he just has like 3 pastas, 5 pizzas, some salads, and then these appetizers. But he doesn't have any fish of the day. He doesn't have any just steak. And I just, at this point, as a critic, I would say, look, it's great. He's really talented. The place has a great vibe, great cocktail program, good wines. one of my favorite restaurants in Fort Lauderdale, but I want more. And at this point, after 3.5 years, I want a little different variety and want to see some expansion of the creativity. He said he is in the middle of working on a new rib dish. It's and I know like some of the places like Runway 84, they do those classic. It's like the ribs with that vinegar, like the vinegar sauce and the hot cherry peppers. But Reno says he's working on with like a sticky glaze, kind of like a play off an Asian type rib, but with Italian touches. He's going to put a stracciatella on top or on the side of it, which sounds intriguing. But I just would like a basic fish of the day that he could do, whip it up in his own creative style. But that's my my only critical notes of the place. I recommend it highly, and neither one of you have heard of it?
Oh
Or
no,
been there,
that's
or
the place that Timon himself, of the Catherine, told Shirley and I to go
Yeah.
to. Like we were at his restaurant. He's like, "Yeah, you need to try Heritage." And you guys talked about it, so I've heard a lot about it. I've been intrigued, and I'm sure. Look, for our first time, we'll be happy with what that menu is. But that's why I've liked the Catherine. Look, that's why I like the Foundry, is because they're constantly adding, subtracting, doing stuff with the menu.
Right.
Like they have a much more vast menu, and people are happy with it. And it's not even just a Ken, they're chefs, and they've had a few different chefs, but they're all pretty consistent in that they like to play with stuff. And they have at least 1 to 2 specials every day between the two of you, you've gotten me entrenched in that. Like I used to be old standby guy, and Ken will tell you the early stories about how you go to this place that was amazing called Brother Tucker's, and they had like 4 things on the menu, and they had 3 different specials every day. That was the whole thing. And he didn't give you trade outs. There was like 4 chairs. You would love this freaking place. And it was in my early days of eating. So like, I'm sad that that's when I went there, but like I would want a burger, and Ken would go, "You're an idiot. Eat what the heck I have." And I learned to do that, but it trained me to like creativity and originality. And some new
Again, the Japanese word is omakase, where you give yourself over to the chef.
Correct.
It's like you let them make a decision. Where you go to a place where they have a very small, narrow menu, and they're continually adding new daily specials and seasonality, and you go with the flow and say, all right, give me what you think is great today, and just go with it instead of what you think that you want. Now Timon and at the Catherine, he's always doing the seasonality thing and swapping out different ingredients and changing up the plating and the
pisses
sets.
people off because he does it maybe too much, I guess. But see, I love it. I think it's great.
I like that variety. Now, Reno's taking the opposite approach, where he has this small select menu and they just nail everything. They have it down right. Occasionally, maybe they'll introduce a new thing. Or last night they had this duck ragu special that was outstanding. But I also understand he's a guy who's stretched thin, because he's also, besides being a chef, he's in, I guess, a couple of bands. I think he is involved with a straight up rock and roll band that he was going out to LA a lot with them. And then he was involved in like a rock country band up in Nashville. And so like Heritage is only open from Wednesday through Sunday. And like every Monday and Tuesday, he was traveling either LA or Nashville for a while. I don't know what he's up to lately. I didn't have a full conversation because it was packed in there last night. But he, he does that. So that might be, I guess, suppressing him, doing some more of the new plates and things like that. But just as a guy who appreciates good food, I want to see some, more, newer dishes, and also just straight up proteins, because for those of us, not me, I mean, let's face facts, that keto shit. Well, I'm not supposed to curse on this stuff. That's so far out the window. But I would, eventually, there are nights when you would like to just have, protein, a nice piece of fish with a little vegetables, and then, you not have to get heavy on the dough and the pasta. And speaking of heavy on the proteins, it's a good time to talk about our friends at Delaware Chicken and Seafood. It is a Thursday, and we always sing their praises every day of the week, but Thursday especially. They are the presenting sponsor of the Lunchbox on Thursdays, and we do our monthly show on Thursdays. We're going to be out there this month on the 20th of July, and I think we're going to be previewing the Florida lobster season. And I know some people maybe don't prefer the spiny lobsters. It's all tail, and the meat is, they're big and plump, and they're all tails. It's different. animal than the Maine lobsters, which of course Delaware carries all the time. They get fresh shipments in every day. So if you want your great steamed old North Atlantic sweet lobsters in the hard shell, you can have that. But I think on the 20th, we're going to be featuring the upcoming Florida lobster, both mini season and then the regular season, so that it will be commercially available. And there's all kinds of recipes I'm sure that our friends Gene and Jose will be sharing with us. And we're also going to be, again, it's summer, and that means seafood. I think we're going to be dipping into the blue crabs and some of those Maryland spice crabs, but those blue crabs come from the waters down here. And maybe some crab cakes. We love going out there, and you're going to love Delaware too. 4191 North State Road 7, DelawareChicken.com. Go online and check out all their weekly specials and daily offerings. They're the greatest in the local fresh catch seafood, like the snapper from the Keys, the grouper from the Gulf, along with Key West pink shrimp. And of course, they've got fish from all over the place, like Alaskan salmon. The wild salmon season is on, halibut. And from Ken's favorite place along the North Shore, along Massachusetts, they have cod and all kinds of other great things. And they also have meats and burgers and the great upscale hot dogs. I've sang their praises enough. You go there. It's right across from the classic Seminole Casino. Big chicken on the roof. Find them. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All righty, we're privileged to have the one and only Professor, as you know him, on our show. He is Ken Jacobsen, restaurateur himself, foodie himself, gourmet himself. And when we get back, we'll talk more about the South Florida food scene right here on this edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. A place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at One Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine. With a huge menu with something for everyone. Seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, deli specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day. Open 7 days until late. Parking available on site. Happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at ArubaBeachCafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. It's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices, served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Oh, we're back on the Lunchbox, and lo and behold, I looked down at my phone and I got a couple of texts from Defo Man. So he is alive and well.
Good to know.
And he just sent me a screenshot. I don't know who taught him how to do these screenshots of a racing form. He sends out in the first race at Laurel, and I got to see what the post time is. There's a horse named number 7, Foodie. So I think that's going to be the hunch play of the
fire
day.
up those online accounts, folks.
Foodie's 13-1, 7 horse. The race is off. Let's see what happens. Off the board. 11 horse one. So I'm glad I didn't see that before the race went off, because first of all, I hate the term foodie. So I'm glad he was off the board. I don't wish him any ill will. I hope the horse came out of the race sound. But what do you think of the food term foodie, Ken Jacobsen, restaurateur?
Fairly accurate. I mean, it's not
really.
Yeah, I mean, what else you gonna? I mean, look, there's 1,000 words for the same: gourmet, gourmand, fatso. I mean, there's glutton. There's 1,000 words for it. I don't think foodie's that bad.
I hate it.
Why?
Because you know why? I think anything that ends in IE is an infantilization of language. And eat your veggies. Oh, I'm a foodie. Oh, it's so yummy. Nom, nom, nom.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but aren't most of the people not everybody, now you're a professional critic, it's a little different, but these idiots who let their food get cold while they take 10,000 pictures for the gram that they're going to post online. Look how delicious look how fancy. Look at the drizzle on my food. You kind of are a small idiotic child. So I feel like it's
now this is a good point.
Fairly accurate term, to be brutally honest. You're not eating us and telling us about the flavor. You're taking freaking pictures to show off for your friends, which look, all of social media is basically trying to fool people into thinking that the best 3 moments of your day is what your day is constantly like. And we're all supermodels and professional athletes. It's nonsense. So that there's a nonsense term that encapsulates like 75% of the scene doesn't bother me in the least.
Okay. All right. That's your look. And I'm guilty of the picture thing. And Lubie was my accomplice the other day. And speaking of great Italian restaurants where you could get good protein, Casa Calabria, that fish we had there, it was cooked so perfectly. They had a snapper special that was great. I had it as a leftover. So again, we love our new sponsor, Casa Calabria.
Yeah, we need to bring Ken the next time. Because Ken and I had not the greatest experience the one time we went, because we went as a huge group.
And to be fair, I'm not. To be fair, it was an unusual situation. To be fair to Frankie, it was an unusual situation in that I literally thought it was going to be like a 6 to 8 people group. It was like a 28 person.
Oh God! When you get that big, you can't have a good experience. It's just not possible.
Not honestly sure. I'm not honestly sure Defo told them just how big. So they had to like push 3 tables together to create a table large enough for us to be accommodated. And then, it took the kitchen a while. Why? Because we hit them with like 3 tables worth of
They had to
orders
hire 2 new chefs off the
at-
street
at
because they
once.
weren't expecting 28, a party of 28.
Honestly, it was like a random Wednesday night in the middle of the summer. So on top of everything else, it's slow season. All of a sudden, we got a
they
got a
weren't
28 top.
Was that
waiting
a
for us.
Marty the Party affair? Because
Yes,
Defoe,
yes,
okay, this is
yes.
what, okay, and Defoe and I,
Among
I guess,
others.
Before you go on, I wanted Ken to come with us Friday, but like you threw it together quickly, and then Frankie was involved. So I was like, look, the next time we do a show there, I may make sure Ken comes out because we've had a long running relationship with Frankie, and Ken knows him well. So I wanted to have Ken see that different light.
it's like anything else. Like it comes to a point where there's just like when you could go out with a group of 8, 4 couples, but I break into hives when it's really anything more than 5 or 6. It's just like 3 couples is my max. I think my perfect night is 4. You go with the 4 top. You go with 2 couples. You have enough. Everybody could talk to each other. You have normal conversations, and you can split a couple of appetizers and a couple of mains, and everybody gets a little bite of everything. That's the way I love to eat. That's my preferred method. But the night was my lighting director because we shots for the new ad, the spot that we were cutting, and they came out really nice.
You're creating an ad. That's a little bit different than
it's business.
Let me take 15 pictures of my lasagna.
If you're a regular person who's not monetizing their food like
Exactly.
we are, but that's what separates the professionals from the
Well, no, you look. A sponsorial relationship is a different relationship. And
but in my world, even when I'm just shooting food for the Let's Eat group, and I'm a sick guy because now I've had, I went over to the food world and, I became the food critic for the Sentinel in early 2016. I now have over 70,000 photos and videos on my phone. About 3 of them are my family, and the rest are all like every restaurant thing I've eaten in the last 6 years. It's a little bit Bob Grahamish. You remember Senator Bob Graham? He used to have a daily log of everything he ever did in his life, every bowel movement he had, every calorie he consumed. It's a real sickness. But this is like
Kavanaugh and his wacko calendars.
Oh, well, okay.
During the hearings, you remember those? Where he broke out his calendar. He's like, I was lifting weights at Dougie's garage. I have my calendar from when I was 14 years old that lists everything then they ask him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, that was my family tradition. My dad would write on a calendar everything he did that day, and then at Christmas we'd all go around and Dad would talk about everything on his calendar for the year. I was like,
oh geez.
The hostages in Die Hard had a better Christmas than your family did.
All right. Well, that's a little obsessive, and but again, I do it with the food. The camera eats first. That's one of the rules of me. But I don't consider. Okay, people call me a foodie. I try not to take offense by any.
You're definitely a foodie.
I don't like the word foodie. You know what?
You may not like the word. You're a gourmand. You're
I love that movie Fatso with Dom DeLuise. That was a great movie, by the way.
Whether you like the word or not, you definitely embody the term because you love the food and you love a wide variety of stuff.
Well, this is why I love the Yiddish language. Going back to my Eastern European Jewish roots, and my grandparents spoke Yiddish. My mother, they use a lot of Yiddish words. My favorite term is fresser. Fresser is a Yiddish term that means a guy who likes to eat, likes to go into the kitchen and nosh at any hour of the day, especially at midnight. I'm a fresser. And it means foodie connotes people who like turn their nose up at McDonald's or fast food.
Yes.
Like there's pretentious. There's certain things that are beneath them.
Yes.
There is nothing beneath me. Anybody who's watched this show for half a second and saw me shovel down a hot dog with chili and cheese and mustard and dribble it down my down my shirt, and then have Burger Beast call my little leftover glob of chili a meat dingleberry. That is not foodie behavior. That is just absolute. I don't know what you call it, but I did eat my dingleberry and then I wiped, and that's what you do with your dingleberries on your plate.
Now, that part of foodie culture, I will agree with you, is when you get to the point where you become a food snob.
Yes.
Where because you like good things, you also pretend you don't like the simple things that you can't enjoy a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because it doesn't have shaved truffles and foie gras or some nonsense that's super expensive on it.
I like Skyline chili, 4 ways wet. I love Caribbean food. Yeah, I like any kind of Caribbean food out of a styrofoam container. The
that's great.
oxtail stew.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not a food snob by any means, and I like McDonald's French fries. Okay, kill me. I like the McFlurries sometimes when I'm drunk and the machines actually work. If anybody could find one, please text me immediately.
Oh, hey, I don't eat them as much because I'm trying to eat a little healthier these days, but I will go to my grave an Egg McMuffin guy. Like
That's
I,
me.
Loves an egg muffin.
That's me. I think it's
I
one of the
will-
best breakfasts out there. I liked it a lot
Absolutely.
better when they were 99 cents. Last time I got one,
It's
a la carte without even the hash browns and the coffee, it was like $4.25. I said,
Well,
screw
that's
you. I can
everywhere
make
now.
one at home for, I assemble my, it makes me stay home and eat, which is the mantra on Let's Eat when people start griping about food costs and restaurant pricing, but that's a whole other story.
Okay, I do have a thing because, like, when
Yep.
Lubie first told me about this appearance, I felt like I was being set up to saying something horrible about the city of Boston and where originally this
yeah, okay.
was going. But I did do a little prep and I was trying to think of it. Here's my question:
Mhm.
Is there a city, a major American city, who has less of a definitive food culture than the city of Boston? Because I'm trying to think of what are the cities, most famous restaurants, what are its most famous exported products. What I came legal seafoods, which
Yeah. New
has
England clam
largely-
chowder.
which is largely but that's the thing. A lot of the things they claim as quote unquote Boston, I really think of more as Maine or Northeastern in general. They claim the lobster roll. To me, the lobster roll is a Maine dish. It's not a Boston dish.
Right. Well,
When I think of Boston cream pie, one of the worst desserts ever invented.
I like Boston.
Restaurants,
I like it too.
Dunkin' Donuts, which is a testament to mediocrity. If you like mediocre coffee and
like
donuts
Dunkin'
that are
Donuts.
slightly worse than you can get at
Hey,
Publix.
Ken, we have issues. We have issues.
Again,
Go
I don't
ahead.
hate Dunkin' Donuts, but every local, like, family-owned donut shop that you find has better donuts.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Publix bakery has
Wait.
equal
I'm
donuts.
going to give Dunkin' Donuts props for one item. Their chocolate glazed donut. I like.
It's
I
solid.
like. I like that where you dunk it in the mediocre coffee and you have something.
Again, there's nothing wrong with their coffee, but it's a C plus. It's very average.
Yeah, it's
Really,
The
I
donuts
you know
are
what?
C plus donuts. They're very
I
average.
I used to get their Dunkin' Dark. The Dunkin' Dark coffee is
I haven't
pretty
tried
good. And I would get it in a bag. Then they changed and they rebranded, and now they call it the Midnight Blend, and it sucks. So,
Try
Again,
that.
I feel like in any relatively large urban area, you can find 10 local coffee shops within 5 miles that are better
can s-
coffee than Dunkin' Donuts. I feel
well, and how do
donut
you,
shops, you'll find better donuts.
how
Again,
do you regard Starbucks coffee
Yeah, it's Starbucks.
compared to
Dunkin's C plus, Starbucks is like a B minus.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't like
Because
it.
I prefer Dunkin' Donuts
It's
coffee
slightly
to
better, but it's not
the
a lot
original Starbucks blend, which was just like a purposely burnt thing. It was the New Haven a pizza of coffees where they have these burnt beans. I happen to like the charred pizza. I don't like charred coffee, but
Anyway,
it's all subjective.
On
All
the
right, but
original
getting back,
point, is there any? You are a much
Yes.
more traveled man. Is there any notable American city that has less of a food scene than the city of Boston?
yeah, Oklahoma City.
Like
You
a
really
major,
consider that a major
Major.
American city?
a major city.
Okay, so I went to school in Boston.
Okay,
I don't share the antipathy that you do. I don't know what caused this. All I know is
we
that
could
you
do
would
that
not.
in the next segment because there's a perfect
Yeah.
living example of what's
You would
going
not
on
have
here.
liked our trip to Arbetters yesterday because the Arbetter family has Boston
Yes.
roots and they
That's
had
sort of why I
Boston
didn't invite
Red
him.
Sox paraphernalia all over. They also had a big sign
Larry
outdoor.
Bird. They literally, if you say Larry Bird, you get free stuff. Like,
No, and there was. Did you see the big banner outside? Is like free baked beans for everyone the day after the Red Sox win the World Series, which they actually had to honor
yeah,
a
they
couple of
did win.
times in the last 2 decades.
I don't think they'll be
Shockingly.
honoring this year.
No, but all right. So baked beans again. It like when I first started going to school, there was a place called Durgan Park. Durgan Park. It was an old school restaurant that was in. It was kind of along the corridor next to that Faneuil Hall food market. But then Durgan Park was actually in a brick building and had been there since the late 1800s. They were known for their prime rib, like bone-in big slabs of prime rib with these crocks of baked beans and Yorkshire pudding. And I love the place. And that's kind of like old Yankee cuisine, which is, kind of ripped off from the British that we
It's
ended up
soul food.
Okay,
overturning and
but
overthrowing.
hold
So,
on. Let's just break that meal down for a second. Prime rib. There are no stockyards in Boston.
right.
There's no cattle scene in Boston. So prime rib is definitively not a Boston dish.
Okay.
It's somebody else's dish that they've taken. Baked beans, I'll give them the baked beans. Yorkshire pudding is named for Yorkshire. So very clearly not your dish. So if the most notable dish your city claims is baked freaking beans, that's not a strong lineup in my personal
All right.
opinion.
Well, I'm going to give him credit for.
That's a weak entry into the crop of
I'm gonna
my
get. I'm
city's
gonna give.
dishes.
I'm giving Boston credit also for the legal seafoods, the chowder. Yeah, it's a New England thing, but the clams, you can dig
New
up
England
clams
clam
around.
chowder, not Boston clam chowder.
You
Even
could go
Manhattan has its own, in my opinion, superior clam chowder,
I
but it
like the
has
Manhattan clam.
a clam chowder named after it. Boston has New England clam chowder.
There's no. You're just blinded by your hatred. Joe C just texted me, our friend up in Delaware, said you're leaving out the North End, which has some of the best Italian Little Italy in the country, next to Baltimore. It's the saving food grace in Boston. He likes the North End, and I like the place in the North End. It's called the Daily Catch before they expanded, but it used to be just a little hole in the wall that had like 5 tables, and they would prepare fresh seafood pasta dishes in a skillet and serve it in the skillet. I don't know if you've ever been to the Daily Catch, but it's one of my favorite places. Then you cap off the night going to, I guess it's Mike's Bakery, and you get a nice cannoli at Mike's. Again, not Boston's own food necessarily. It's
Is
Italian
what I'm
food,
saying.
but I think you need to check it because Boston has a good food scene. There is a couple of chefs that have come out of there. What's his name? Something White, Jasper White, some waspy name. I should know this because Sarni is a fan. He texted me that the guy is opening up some restaurant in one of these fancy buildings, and it's a private restaurant. You have to buy a $5 million condo first before you could eat there. And I was like, Sarni, why would you tell me this? How is this like going to be relevant in my life or any of the Lunchbox crowd's life? And Sarni did not have an answer for that. Defo also just texted me. He said he wants to know if we make Mayo bobbleheads, how many we'd be able to sell on Let's Eat and the Lunchbox sites. Obviously, Defo is into the good stuff already, and I can't wait to hear about his latest trip to Chef Vola's. That always fascinates me. Hey, we got to take another break. We got to talk about our friends at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and the Studiali family. Talk about old school people doing things right. I mean, great hospitality, value, service. You can get everything that you want and need for a great meal at Tropical Acres. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania Beach, Old Fort Lauderdale, just west of the airport and I-95. This time of year, there's an abundance of things that you can get is going to make you happy. And I'm not going to say it's lobsters from Boston, but it's a twin lobster special from North Atlantic waters, either Maine or Nova Scotia, or maybe Cape Cod. I don't know, but 2 of them for $39 with a side and a salad. You can't beat that deal. Go in there, make it a surf and turf with a friend. They can get the prime rib. They have different size cuts, all kinds, shapes, and sizes, and doneness, along with their filet mignon. My preference is the special cut, center cut, barrel cut. Beautiful, I think 10 ounce barrel cut. Those are the specialties of the house. They also have the happy hour in the bar every day, 4:30 to 6:30, with half price liquor, including top shelf liquor and light bites. They have the loyalty reward card. For every 12 meals you buy, you get the 13th on the house. All this and more, Tropical Acres. And don't forget, half price wine night. Most bottles in the house, half off on Mondays and Tuesdays. It's an incredible deal. You could get 2 lobsters, a steak, and a bottle of wine for under $100 at Tropical Acres. Tell me how you're going to beat that deal, especially with the quality and the service. Go there. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Yes, and coming up next, we will We will have more for you on this edition, the star-studded edition, with the professor joining us, of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. a place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at One Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine with a huge menu with something for everyone: seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, deli specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day. Open 7 days until late. Parking available on site. Happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at arubabeachcafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasto platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi, fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. This August, Visit Lauderdale invites everyone under the sun to indulge in the annual Dine Out Lauderdale promotion. This year's options will be more diverse than ever, with fine dining restaurants, casual eateries, and even your favorite cafes and ice cream parlors part of the mix. From August 1st through 31st, scores of restaurants will be offering multi-course meals at discounted prices starting at just $45 per person. Diners can also enjoy sweets and treats, brunches, happy hour specials, and exclusive culinary experiences. This year's lineup includes 3030 Ocean, Foxy Brown, and Lasso Gaucho in Fort Lauderdale, Even Keel Fish Shack and Aruba Beach Cafe in Lauderdale by the Sea, Cafe Max in Pompano, The Cook and the Cork in Coral Springs, Union Kitchen and Bar in Wilton Manors, and more. Restaurants are being added by the day. For the full Dine Out Lauderdale lineup and all the details, go to dineoutlauderdale.com. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. No Defo. We've got guest co-host Ken, the Professor Jacobsen, filling in. Do you want to give a plug to the Foundry? Tell people where it is and what's going on lately. Summertime, any specials?
I mean, we have specials every day. As you know, my personal favorite meal at the place is the brunch. So I always recommend Saturday, Sunday mornings open at 10:30, serve brunch till 3 o'clock. Obviously, we got the bottomless with the mimosas and the Bloody Marys. As Defo and Lubie like to not Defo, Mayo and Lubie like to comment. Still $15 for the bottomless mimosas or Bloody Marys. I know they are big fans of that. We are Atlantic Boulevard, just west of the bridge. If you know where Houston's is, we're right across the street. It's the easiest landmark rather than giving you an address.
Yeah.
But Atlantic Boulevard, just west of the bridge, look for the big open bar. You can see it from either side of Atlantic, right there in the heart of Pompano. And come on in.
right across from my other favorite restaurant. The way that you hate Boston is the way I hate that other restaurant that shall remain nameless across the street.
Okay.
Not really hate. I respect them,
Hates
but
them.
you won't catch me in there
Again,
if
the
I'm
Boston thing
breathing.
is all sports related. I do not actually
Okay.
hate people from Boston, other than the
That's all right.
actors who mostly do garbage work.
And I hope you don't mind. We're going to go a little overtime today because we've got a lot of topics. And Ken is not racing off to bet the early double at parks like Defoe.
Not a
usually
horse
has to
guy.
do.
I'm the only Defoe
Um,
member who is not a horse
I'm
degenerate.
not even-
So Jasper White is the name of the chef I was thinking of, who kind of opened a number of highly regarded restaurants in Boston proper. But the funny part is, it's according to his wiki, he's a chef, restaurateur, and cookbook author who is recognized as one of the leading authorities on New England food and its history, in particular seafood. Again, he doesn't say Boston food; they say New England food. And then the irony here, Ken, guess where he was born?
Oh no.
Maine.
New Jersey.
Exactly.
So there you have it, Jasper White. But if you were going to go to Central Casting and dial up a more waspy Plymouth Rock sounding name, I think Jasper White.
It's pretty good.
It's
would
right
be
up
high
there,
on
yeah.
the list.
Very
Yeah.
Yale.
So that's it. Hey, you mentioned the bottomless specials at the Foundry. I also love the brunch pizza. But speaking of day drinking, I just saw something come across the transom. The New York Times has these health and wellness newsletters, and it's the one the topic of the day was day drinking. Why does day drinking feel different? It says, and some of the obvious answers are it's open ended. You start earlier. 2, it's hot. Duh. So drinking while the sun is out means you get more dehydrated, and that's one way to exacerbate the effects of drinking. 3, the hangover might arrive earlier. Well, duh. If you're drinking all day, then you're going to get the hangover at night. And then it also says, and this is a term I've never heard, Ken. Have you heard this? Hangxiety, which is a combination of a hangover with anxiety.
I've heard of it. I will reserve the comment I made earlier about this. There's a certain group of people, demographically, people will know who I'm talking about without me saying it, who, when they have a hangover, never stop talking about their hangover and then start wanting to list everything they drank the night before. Because I had 4 tequila shots and 5 wine spritzers, and this is, who cares?
Well, I'm not going to say it's alcoholics, because alcoholics would just keep drinking, so they're never going to get hangxiety. It would be, I would say, neurotics like me. I tend to sometimes get hangxiety.
I will do a plug here for a product
Yeah.
I don't think anybody on the show is associated with. There's a product you can buy at any Walgreens or CVS called Liverade. It's mostly sal palmetto. If you are a drinker, start taking Liverade every day, and you will not get hungover.
Oh, that's funny.
Liverade. That sounds better than liverwurst.
Liverade, LiverAid, Liverade, and it is
and the
a miracle product for hangovers.
Okay. I usually take 2 Advils and drink a nice can of seltzer, and that helps. And this is okay. This is the Time says dehydration also accentuates the physiological effects that can come with a hangover: shaky hands, nausea, dizziness. But sometimes the bodily signs of anxiety can trigger actual feelings of fear and nervousness. So basically, the cure for all this is drinking lots of water, and they basically say for every alcoholic beverage you consume, drink a glass of water in between, and that should curb the effects of your day drinking. The 4th, did you guys do any kind of day drinking? I know I did, and I had a quick story about it. Yes. Wait, but Ken, you had the story. I guess the talker of the day yesterday. It went viral involving a delivery driver,
a DoorDash
bitching
driver.
over a tip. Okay, tell
a DoorDash driver. I believe it was in Tennessee, but don't quote me on that part of the story. Delivered a pizza to a woman's house, and I guess it was a very nice home, probably a mansion. And walked up to the door, and the woman came out and said hello. And the guy's comment was, "Well, this is a really nice house for somebody who's leaving a $5 tip." And it was a $5 tip on a $20 pizza. So 25% tip.
Let's do the math. 25%.
Woman,
more than appropriate.
Like the woman who recorded all this, I believe through one of her Ring cameras. I'm not exactly sure. Didn't know how to react. She said, "Oh, well, you're welcome." And he told her to go F herself as he was walking away.
What is he expecting?
The woman then sent the video to DoorDash, who did not respond. So she posted it on TikTok, and it within a few hours went super viral. And sparked a lot of discussions on major media too. I saw it on a lot of news. I saw on the Today Show, on another news show.
Okay. It shows you how out of
I am
touch
normally
I
the
am.
guy who defends the service industry people, but there ain't nothing wrong with tipping $5 on a $20 pizza. It's a 25.
That's 25%. That's good every day in my book. If you get 25% from every delivery and every customer,
Well, that's
you're
amazing.
fine. So so my 2 cents on this very quickly is that guy should get fired by DoorDash.
Has been already.
Yeah.
He should not be in the service industry. You don't, again, automatically, what is he expecting? 100% tip, $100 bill on one freaking pizza? Get a grip of yourself. Just because somebody has a mansion doesn't mean they have any obligation to tip higher percentage wise, that a $20, a $5 tip on a $20 pizza than anybody else. Some people who are rich have a reputation, richly deserved, of being cheapskates. Now, if the guy got $1 on his pizza, then by all means, he has. Again, you shouldn't do it because most restaurants, you don't say something to the person
And
themselves.
it's never
That's
going to change
classless.
the outcome.
Right. So and this brings me back a story I've told a bunch of times about my father. When he was in dental school, he used to work up in the Borscht Belt at a summer resort up in the Catskill Mountains, where they would serve. It was guests that were there for the whole week, and you would serve a crew at a table for 3 meals a day for the whole week, and the meal plan was included. So at the end of the week, the servers would get a tip. And back in the day, you would get, for the whole week, they'd be happy getting like $10, $1 a day, $7 for the 7 days, because back then money was a lot more, but obviously there are certain folks, and this is, again, it goes into, I guess, it just because of tipping practices are different there, but he served a couple from Canada, the Canadians, and at the end of the week, instead of leaving a $10 bill or a bunch of singles, neatly piled on the table was a stack of 10 dimes. So it was a $1 tip in dimes. My father, he was a little angry. He took the stack of dimes. He goes out to the parking lot and he just goes to them, "I think you forgot something on the table." And just gave it back to them. Didn't say anything else. And he turned around. I think that was kind of cool. It's like saying it without saying it, right? He did not get fired because I think the owner of the resort was.
It was funny the way he handled it was funny. It was funny. Okay, so I was a pizza delivery driver for about a year, and you learn real quick how people tip, because that's the thing is, like, when you go to a restaurant, yes, once in a while servers will get stiffed, but usually you don't. When people go to a restaurant, they tip. Pizza delivery drivers, they don't. They quite often don't tip at all, and if they do tip, it's $1 or $2. Like, if I got a $5, I don't give a damn how nice the house was. I didn't presume. Like, if I got a $5 tip, I would have been like, holy crap, like, that's like an amazing tip. Like, I don't know what's going on in the Uber, DoorDash. I guess my wife is a ridiculous tipper, so there's a lot of Shirleys out there. Like, I don't know what your standards are for tipping, but to expect more, and it wasn't even like a big order that you're like lugging around. One pizza, to get $5 on one pizza is ridiculous, and that's stupid that guy reacted that way.
I guess the other way thinking of it is if you're going to go to the trouble of ordering in from DoorDash or Uber Eats, like, at least make it a couple of pizzas and a couple of subs and a salad, and making an $80 order.
You order one pizza on pizza delivery.
Don't do the job.
No, I mean, you're right. You're right. You should be able to order one pizza, but this is the level of absurdity that we've gone to.
People order pizzas. It's what they did on a Friday night. And I was disgruntled, and that's why I got out of the industry really quickly. But that was my issue, not the people ordering, or the restaurant's issue.
This is the business we have chosen. If you're delivering food, you have to be willing to accept that some people are going to have small orders and be small tippers. Some people are going to order big orders and be generous tippers, and everything else in between.
As bitter as I can be, and the two of you have seen me be bitter, Lubie, I never showed the customer. Never. They could give me the stupidest tip ever. Literally, I got 30-cent tips, and I'd be like, "Thank you, ma'am." And I'd bitch under my breath when they close the door. Like, you can't. Like, that's weird to do that. Like, quit the job then, man. Like, don't do that. Like, that's not their fault that you're mad at the job you do. Like, I think that's weird.
I get 100%.
I'm glad that this guy got fired. He has no business being in the service industry if he's going to handle himself like that. And good luck to him in his next
Exactly.
endeavor because it's not going to be pretty. Hey, I know we got to do one more block, and I appreciate you hanging around a little extra, Ken. And I
Anytime.
just got to put in the word for Dine Out Lauderdale.
Oh,
I
I just got
mentioned
to
that it's
say
going to be,
one thing because you talked about
yeah,
proteins a lot and then you cut to the
yeah,
live read on Delaware. I just want to say, just because I'm a fan of the place, anybody who likes to use some more exotic proteins from now to time, be it a venison or maybe a pheasant or a duck, always go to Delaware. They always have in terms of game meats and then sort of off the board proteins you won't
yep.
find at your local Publix. They always have the best selection anywhere in South Florida. I don't care if you're in Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. If you like to do some cooking, as I do with game meat or with some more off the board proteins, make Delaware your first stop. I'm just my family and I have been longtime fans. So
Oh
since
yeah,
you
I love the
mentioned them, I
place.
wanted to include that.
And again, if you're looking for something, ask them. They can
Get
special
it for
order
you.
stuff too. But they do have, besides the display cases where they have things, they do have that little freezer
Mhm.
frozen where they have some of those, the elks, the venison, the
And it'll
bison.
always be high
Uh,
quality.
yeah, all good stuff. And Dine Out Lauderdale again doesn't start till August 1st. That's where the restaurants are going to
Let's hit
be
up now.
taking part with, and it's not just fine dining restaurants this year. Even casual eateries and cafes and ice cream parlors are going to be part of the mix. Go to dineoutlauderdale.com to see. The roster is impressive. They've been doing a great job. Our friends Kate and Phil going to be close to over 100 restaurants this
Wow.
year in all kinds of everywhere around the county. So the updated roster will be up there soon. And if you're a restaurant that might be interested in participating, you don't have to have the 3 course $45 or $55 meal. You could just sign up and say, we're going to be doing a Dine Out Lauderdale steak and egg special for Sunday brunch, and we'll just do it for $12.99 with our $15 thing. You can go online, register dineoutlauderdale.com for the
Well, you don't
restaurants
have to
out there
pay,
that
right?
want
That's
to
the whole
take
point.
part.
Is in the Miami they do a similar thing that you do have to pay for.
Yeah, Miami, they charge you because they're saying, "Oh, you got to be on board," and we do the
It's
marketing.
doing like a thinking thing. So I just want to make sure
Yeah.
if you are a restaurateur, you know that. Like I think that's pretty cool.
Visit Lauderdale. It's basically free marketing for you. You sign up, you come up with a deal, and again, their whole mantra is everyone under the sun. So they want every restaurant under the sun to take part. A good diversity of cuisines and price points. Again, dineoutlauderdale.com. And hop on board if you want to sign up. They are still happily accepting people to sign on. And it's going to be a great time August 1st through 31st. Dineoutlauderdale.com. All right, let's take our last break and then we'll get out of here. The new expanded edition of the Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We'll be back after these words. Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all: Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. We're back on the Lunchbox. We're going to wrap things up in a moment. One last thing I wanted to get to. I did for some day drinking over the long place opened up in the neighborhood, Grumpy Gary's. It's actually not new. It moved. It was originally on the Broadwalk in Hollywood as part of that Hollywood Beach Resort complex. I think it was outdoors on the pool deck there. They're knocking down that whole thing. I don't know what's going to happen to that Hollywood Beach Resort, but they moved. Grumpy Gary's is now at what used to be called Dockers. It's on Federal Highway just south of the airport. And it's right up the road from me, and did a little pub crawl. We did Three Sons Brewing, which I like. Have you been to Three Sons, Ken? Or you're not a beer guy, or you go to 20 Degrees up in near your place in Pompano? Three Sons Brewing, have you ever been?
I have been. I am absolutely a beer guy, and I've also been to 26 Degrees. Yes.
Okay, I've been to 26, but Three Sons, why I went with you is
yeah, they have some good IPA, that Dopalicious and Double Dope is great. We did that. We started there, and then we ended up going to Grumpy Gary's. And the only reason I mention it is, it's brand new, and they have some food. They didn't do much. It looks the same as it was when it was Dockers, and they have a very delicious vodka lemonade drink. That was the right balance. It wasn't too sweet, and it was $9. So I had a bunch of those, and then was with friends, and we did a split check thing. And lo and behold, the same issue that befuddled and outraged many on Let's Eat last week from Milk Money Bar in Fort Lauderdale. We did a split check, and their tip guide on the check came out to the tipping guide was on the total amount, not the split amount. And even though I had many drinks, because I'm mathematically inclined, I caught it right away. But the other couple I was with, she looked down. She almost gave a $22 tip on a $39 check, looking at the 20%. She was like, "Are you leaving 22?" I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "No, I didn't even look at the tip guide because I do math. It was $39, and I gave him $10. I was generous. I gave him the 25%.
Yeah, it's fine.
The $10. I was like, "I'm leaving 10. What are you doing?" "Oh, the tip guide says 22. Don't look at the tip guide." These things, again, these POS systems, for whatever reason. And let me get your professional expertise here, Ken. How hard is it, or is it hard to adjust a point of sale system so that when there is a split check, to adjust the coding, and we're not talking separate checks, because I think if at the really beginning, hard. Yeah,
like okay. Elon's people at Twitter would definitely screw it up. Look, it's proprietary code. Everybody uses basically one of 2 or 3 POSs. I think it's intentionally, for proprietary reasons, kept difficult to reprogram.
And here's the thing. What I think I found is that if before you start ordering, you say we want separate checks, and they have it on separate checks from the beginning, you will get the accurate tip guide for your separate check.
Correct.
However, if you do an after the fact, I'm going to throw in 3 credit cards and just split this check 3 ways, the tip guide on it will be on the total. So this is a word of warning to people who can't process math or need to be spoon-fed everything in their lives. Just use some freaking common sense, people. $22 tip on $39 is not 20%.
You have a calculator on your phone, folks. Right. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow the guide.
But it just goes to show.
No, again, I don't think most people need it. But if you have math issues, you have a calculator on your phone.
But this goes back to my robotic, hypnotic drones that we've all become, used to getting everything spoon-fed to us. So now people will just look on their darn slip at the tip guide instead of actually processing the numbers and saying, this makes no sense at all. And my friend almost did it. until I pointed her in the right direction.
You're Mike Mayo.
Even after 5 drinks, I was still
agree
capable.
100%.
Yeah.
You know.
So people stop blaming everybody else and take some personal responsibility for your actions. God.
There you go.
Oh, did I say gosh? Gosh, damn it.
Gosh darn
All
it.
right, we've gone way over today. Tomorrow we're going to be at Gulfstream, and
Yes.
we're going to have some more special guest co-hosts. I'm not going to say who it is yet, but it's going to be a fun day. Defoe's still going to be away. Joe Beja is going to be away, but we're going to be set up and taken care of by the great Tommy out at 10 Palms at Gulfstream, and we're going to be giving away some 10 Palms Sunday brunch vouchers and having a contest as usual. So don't let the summer doldrums get you down. Do some day drinking and take the liver aid, guaranteed every time to make your internal organs happy.
Well,
All
your
right.
liver anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about my kidneys. I'm a little bit concerned. That's going to do it for today. All right. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Ken
Ken.
Professor. We'll see you tomorrow morning
Anytime,
on the Defoe show with Lubie, right? And
Morning. Can I be with me
are
tomorrow?
we going to have a big board tomorrow?
I hope.
Possibly.
I have
Big
Ken's up
board?
to
Okay.
it.
And give a plug tonight. Trivia night, right?
Yeah,
Out of
6:30.
Landlubbers.
Check us out,
Landlubbers.
Ken and myself, and Plantation, Sunrise Boulevard, and Pine Island Road in the Sunrise Plantation border.
It starts at 6 o'clock, and they
30,
have some good
6:30.
6:30 and
6:30.
$8.99 burgers there tonight. I might come out and get one because one of the things I didn't do this weekend, I didn't grill at all. I was very lazy.
I didn't either.
How do you
And
not
I
grill
am-
on the 4th of July?
I surely wanted barbecue, and I'm like, yeah, grilling. No, I want ribs. And I'm like, what? I want hamburgers and hot dogs.
That's what we had. You
I
should have come
know.
to the house. We made
I
ribs.
would put a
I-
hamburger
I-
on it, I didn't do anything.
I broke tradition. I saved my hot dogs for our betters yesterday. I still haven't gotten my good burger. I might come out tonight and
for a
get
half pound
myself.
cheeseburger. It's actually and
Yeah.
a side. It's a great thing.
It's good. It's Lunchbox approved. I've had it and I enjoyed it, especially for $8.99.
And the cook and order, Ken's gotten it rare, and they will make it rare. So
I ordered my medium rare and it came out proper medium rare. So Landlubbers tonight for the trivia with the professor and Marianne and Lubie. So it's going to be a fun time. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends about the Lunchbox and come on out if you want tomorrow at 10 Palms at Gulfstream. Always good to see show fans out there. And I'll stop talking now. Everybody enjoy yourselves. Enjoy every sandwich.